Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. I appreciate it. I'm outside Utah Valley University. I just got here a little while ago. This is where Charlie Kirk was assassinated today. And there is a manhunt. There's a massive manhunt happening in this area near the university and really all over Utah right now as they continue to search for a suspect. It's been very confusing on the law enforcement front, which I'm going to get into in a second. There's been two potential suspects that were reported about, and both of those did not pan out from what we are told. So the manhunt is very, very active still right now, not only here at the university, but really in the entire area. Although here at the university, I mean, there are so many police out here. I mean, you've got FBI, you've got Homeland Security, ATF, the local police, the university police, the state police. Basically, where this happened, and I can't get to it right now, but you see this big building behind me. On the other side of that building, and I just walked over there, yeah, they're not going to let me back in there now though, is the courtyard, sort of the amphitheater where Charlie Kirk was speaking, and it's awful. I looked through the windows, I went back there, and it's just, I mean, everything is still sort of left the way that it was. There's caution, there's, police tape up, but, you can tell people just ran for their lives because there's still backpacks everywhere and chairs, and I could see the tent where Charlie Kirk was speaking. And if you've seen the video, I mean, the video is just awful. But the tent is now on its side over there. And it's a terrible, terrible scene back there. But in terms of what's developed today, and I'm going to get my former FBI agent friend on here in a minute to help explain some of this, but just to sort of walk you through what happened today. Charlie Kirk was here on campus. He was speaking. There was a shooter, a sniper that police say was up on the roof of one of the buildings out here. And there's video on social media where you can see him dressed in all dark clothing. And it seems like it was just one shot from what we can tell. Someone who was probably obviously trained, one shot and killed Charlie Kirk. What's confusing is initially there was this social media video of an older man who was taken into custody, who everyone thought was the suspect. He was apparently interviewed and making up some kind of story and was released. Or I'm not sure if he was released. He might still be in custody for lying to police, but he is not the shooting suspect. So then we were told that that the suspect was on the loose. Okay, manhunt. That was this afternoon. Then police have this press conference here in Utah where they're basically in the beginning of the press conference making it sound like this is still an active manhunt and there is no suspect. But during the press conference, FBI Director Kash Patel tweets out that they have a subject in custody. So then at the press conference, reporters start asking about that, and the governor says, we do have a person of interest in custody and we are questioning that person. But it was kind of, the vibe at the press conference was different than the vibe of Kash Patel's tweet. Kash Patel's tweet made everybody seem to think that they got the guy. The vibe at the press conference I was getting was, wait a minute, they don't sound that confident at the press conference that this is really over. Because I don't know, there was just, you didn't get that vibe that we got the guy, everybody calm down. It was more of a vibe of, well, we're questioning someone. So they say they have a person of interest, they're questioning them, they say they don't believe that there's a second person involved. The police chief also said something that I really zeroed in on. He said, we have surveillance video from the campus, but he said, you know how surveillance video is, or something like that, making it sound like the surveillance video wasn't that good of quality. Okay, so the press conference ends. We think they have a suspect in custody, although my spidey sense is still telling me there's something weird about all of this because they didn't sound that confident despite the Kash Patel tweet. And then it comes out that there is no suspect in custody. They have released the person of interest they were talking to, who apparently is not involved. At least that's what it seems like, because they released the person. And now we're back at square one with an active manhunt. So as of right now, no suspect in custody here in Utah for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. You have to wonder how much time was wasted. I mean, hopefully they were still investigating during all of this, but if they actually thought the first guy was the person and then hours later the second person they had in custody was the person, they could be way behind. And this part of the country, I mean, it's rural out here. You've got mountains all around, a lot of places that someone could be hiding right now. So we don't know what they know. It's interesting that, I think it's interesting just having covered a lot of these Normally, if they have a good quality surveillance picture, they will put it out to us so that we can put it out. The media can put it out, and people can help with the investigation if they've seen this person or whatever. That hasn't happened. So, A, they either don't have a good picture because, again, at the press conference, the police chief made it sound like the security footage was not very good quality, or B, they have more information than they're letting on, and they don't really need the media's help right now. In the building, again, when I went in, there's like a massive like operations center. I mean, there are so many police officers in there. They've got a whole sort of like a war room in there. So the investigation is obviously very, very active right now. I just noticed, this is really sad, there are these photos, I mean, these, I don't know if you guys can see these. This camera's like got a mind of its own. There's these flowers that people have left here. Again, just a tragic day. I mean, for our country, regardless of what your political beliefs are, it's not good that this happens in our country, and it's very, very disturbing. But back to the investigation. It's been quiet in terms of, since that press conference, since they first said there's a suspect and then said, no, it's not a suspect or a person of interest. They haven't said much else. So I'm going to get my former FBI agent friend on here. I'm going to get in the car and try to get a little input from him on what may be going on here. I'm joined now by Steve Moore, former FBI agent. Steve, I'm outside the scene right now. I'm trying to understand sort of how this day went down, kind of what was going on behind the scenes, because, initially there was that older gentleman that everyone thought was the suspect, who apparently wasn't. Then the FBI director tweeted out that there was a subject in custody, and the officials at the press conference seemed kind of caught off guard. Like they didn't seem as confident about it. And now we get news that that person has been let go. So what do you think is going on behind the scenes?
The usual thing. What happens is, right after an exigent situation like that, where everything's chaotic and panicked, what you have is the FBI, if they weren't there already, are on their way. They get there and people are saying, I saw this guy, I saw this guy. And people are pointing and saying, that guy looked good, that guy was right in the area, and the FBI is going to pounce on that because you'd be negligent not to. At the same time, they may not have high confidence that these are the people that were involved, but they certainly have to, suss it out to find out if they are or aren't. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. is already calling and saying, what have you got? What's going on? And, the little frustration will come out in my talking here, because I've been on the end of that and saying, I would really like to help you get a suspect, but you're calling me when I need to be working. And so what you'll say is, we've got somebody, we're not sure of what's going on with him yet. And what they hear is they got him. And so you'll find out from a press conference in Washington, D.C., that Washington is saying that you've got the suspect, and you're saying, "Oh, glad I know." So that's standard, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm sure it's frustrating to the public.
Do you think that it put them behind on the ground here? Because it made it sound like they thought they had the person. They were questioning someone. They had a person of interest. That's what the governor called the person. I mean, I'm just thinking, if they were all focused on that person, is the real bad guy getting an even better chance to get away?
Well, it didn't speed them up, but at the same time, Brian, when you respond to a situation like that, the FBI has done this enough to where they know that you're going to have several agents dealing with reports of witnesses right on the scene, but that's not going to be where your case is made, because the person wasn't in the vicinity of the victim. And so what you're going to be doing then is splitting off a large portion of your resources to start reviewing film already, and finding out what vantage points, because with Charlie sitting there, you can get an idea of where that bullet came from, at least a rough estimate. And then if it's a down angle, and you're going to be able to tell by the exit wound, if there's an exit wound, you're going to have enough information to say that roof. And so you're going to be going in different directions. It is not one FBI team investigating this. It is 3 to 4 looking at different things simultaneously and cross-pollinating with the information they're getting. And so what you're going to find out now, where they are, is that this person apparently took a long assassination shot with a rifle into a covered tent. And so what you have there is somebody who knows what they're doing with a rifle. But it also means that they couldn't be sure of their position until that tent went up. So what I would be doing is going back on all the film throughout that entire campus and finding anybody who walked towards that roof or the ingress point of that roof or exited that area for the past, well, actually, since it was announced that Kirk was going to come to that college, because somebody was up on that roof. Somebody cased that, and somebody cased it close enough to the event that they knew they could shoot under that tent. And so you might find people on that roof or nearby that roof, and all you have to do is find the same person in the same area several times in the last week or so and follow them with cameras back to the car park. And I don't think this is going to be a whodunit. I think this is going to be an intricate, exhaustive investigation. And right now, there is no resource that the FBI is not going to throw at this. And I would say right now that that person's best option is to turn themselves in because they are not going to live a moment not hounded by the FBI, and the FBI will get them fairly quickly.
How, and I don't know a ton about guns. How experienced would a sniper have to be to pull off that shot? I mean, is this the kind of thing that, you could take some classes and be able to do, or is this like someone who really knows what they're doing?
It would be somewhere it would be somewhere beyond somebody who's taken some classes. I was a sniper for 2 years. We worked for years on shooting. And so I don't know the distance they fired. But you've got to realize that some of the hunters from Pennsylvania to Utah, the hunters are phenomenal long distance shots. So there are hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in the United States who could make that shot. The thing we learned in snipering is that you spent most of your time learning how to ingress and egress areas and not be seen, because the shooting was the easier thing to master. And so you've got that to deal with. The other thing is, it appears, I'd have to see the distance of the shot to know, but the shot came out and there was no ejected cartridge. So either he picked up the cartridge and brought it with him, or it was a bolt action rifle and he didn't eject it himself. The FBI knows already which it was, because they'll have the bullet by now. And they will know whether it was a 30 caliber bolt action or a semi-auto 223, something like that. The FBI is throwing everything at this, and some of their evidence techniques are just mind-boggling.
But it seems like it was just one shot, and it was
Yes.
precise. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video. It's awful to watch. It's all over social media. But to get that shot one time, you're saying is someone who knows what they're doing.
It's someone who knows what they're doing, but they're not. I wouldn't put them up there with a big time military or law enforcement sniper. For instance, at the FBI, our snipers were there to take out suspects who were holding somebody hostage. Basically, you're shooting at a head from about 100 to 200 yards, and our our zone, our acceptable zone of shooting was about the size of the side of a cigarette pack at 100 to 200 yards. So this person missed the entire head of the target, and hit him in the neck. This is that in actual professional snipering would be considered a wild miss. But it doesn't take much with a high-powered rifle to take somebody's life.
So you think that was a mistake, hitting him in the
I
neck?
do. Yeah, uh, nobody who is a serious sniper considers the neck a prime aim point. I mean, think about it. You're going to be, if you're a sniper, you've got to have an aim point. Are you going to aim at the head? Are you going to aim at the heart? Or are you going to aim at the neck or the elbow? You're going to aim either at the head or the heart. And the neck is not a primary aim point.
Interesting. What do you think about the fact that there's no video that's been released or photo? I mean, other shootings I've covered like this, at this point, when no one's in custody, a lot of the time they'll release something to us to say, hey,
Yeah.
can you get this picture out?
Usually when they're asking the public for help, it's because they don't have anything. If they're not asking for the public's help, they don't need the public's help right now. So I would say that I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow. Maybe they ask for the public's help tomorrow. But my guess is that they either don't have a picture that would be useful for the public to look at, or they're way ahead of us and they don't need anybody's help at this point. And so they don't want to slow down their investigation. Remember, every time you ask the public for help, thank God the public helps. But at the same time, hundreds and thousands of leads come in, and you're going to find that 999 out of 1,000 are useless. And that takes up agent and police resources. So you don't want to send something out to the public unless you're desperate.
Something else interesting, a few of my buddies have texted me, like comparing this to Butler, when President Trump was shot, and saying, oh, what a mistake, gosh, more security lapses. But I don't think people realize that I've covered Charlie Kirk events before. He's just a regular citizen. He has his security team, obviously, that is there to protect him, but it's not like a politician coming in where there's going to be snipers on roofs and they're really going to do some extensive, like pre-security plan. I think they're mainly just focused on protecting him, like almost in his close proximity. I don't know that they really, I don't know, but to me, when I've been to the events, it doesn't seem like they're there way ahead of time looking for sniper locations and that kind of thing.
It's not the same kind of protection, and you're absolutely right. They are trying to defend in a close in zone. People with a knife, people who pull out a pistol, things like that, which are a vast majority historically of political assassinations, or somebody coming up and wanting to shake their hands and instead pulling out a pistol. What his probably very competent security people know they can't do is protect against a sniper 200 yards out, 500 yards out. They don't have aerial resources to scan all the roofs. So they are doing the best they can, but they know that their ability is limited. I don't consider that this necessarily to have happened because they failed. It happened because their abilities, and I don't mean their skills, but their capabilities were limited by the fact that they just don't have the resources to protect against a long distance sniper.
So what will happen tonight? I mean, tonight into tomorrow, I guess, there's obviously a ton going on behind the scenes.
Right now, you're going to have, as I say, all sorts of different teams are going to be split up and doing different things. The FBI right now has probably got hundreds of agents en route, might even be on FBI planes. They are on their way. This is going to be an FBI flood. In the meantime, the agents who are there, and by the way, I keep saying FBI, the police are going to be intensely valuable here and crucial. So you have police and agent teams who are going through all the video. That's time consuming because you can only speed it up so much. And there other agents are out there simply just retrieving video, finding out where every camera on campus is. Some agents are probably right now with Utah Highway Patrol. And I'll tell you why. I was an agent in Utah for 2 years. One thing that Utah has, as you know right now, is only two freeways. You have the 80 that goes east-west and the 15 that goes north and south. And when we worked fugitives, it worked to our advantage because you could stake out with Highway Patrol basically 4 positions: south of Salt Lake City, south of Provo, say north of Cedar City, or even down by Mesquite, Nevada, where it exits. And start, even if you don't see the car you're looking for or know what car you're looking for, you're going to video everything. And you are going to license plate read everything. So if they go west out of Salt Lake City on the 15, there's 8 hours of desert ahead of you. That's not a good direction to go because you will be caught. If you go east on the 15, you're heading over the mountains into heading towards Colorado. That is not a very that's a route that limits your ability to leave the route. So that's good. North on the I'm sorry, I was saying the 15 east-west. It's the 80 east-west. The 15 north, you're going up into rural Idaho, and going south, you're going all the way to St. George. So that person's not going to get away unscathed if they try to leave Utah.
Yeah, I was wondering when I was driving out here from the airport. I mean, it's rural. You know Utah. It's rural out here. There's mountains all around. This is a pretty small town out here. And I was just wondering, I mean, if you're the bad guy, if you're the sniper, is it easier to get away in a place like this than, like, say, if this happened in some big city?
No, no. Oh my gosh. If I, God forbid, if I was that shooter, I would want this to have happened in LA, where there is no way that the police, they won't even try to cover roads because there's too many roads. In Utah, if you decide to leave, you are it's called channeled. You are channeled on certain things, and there are enough highway patrol and police officers and FBI agents coming in to cover every one of those routes. So they're kind of screwed unless they can try to get an airline ticket out of there. But trust me, they're going to be looking at that too. This is not going to go well for them. I don't expect this to be a whodunit. The other thing is, by now they probably have the bullet, whether it went through Charlie and ended up in the ground, or whether it was recovered at the hospital. They've got the bullet. They know the caliber. They know the type of rifle, and they will be able to match that bullet to a specific rifle when that rifle is located. So they'll be able to make this case. It's just a matter of how long it'll take to get this person in custody.
And just my last thing, does it worry you? Again, I'm just thinking back to other ones I've covered where the people are caught pretty quickly and they're kind of amateur and they make some mistake. Like, should we be concerned that it's already been, 12 hours when we're doing this interview right now?
Yeah, it's bothersome that it's been 12 hours, but it's not surprising that it's been 12 hours. And just because it's been that long doesn't make it exponentially harder to identify who this person is, because there are agents going through all sorts of social media. People who do this kind of thing leave a trail of social media and posts and things like that. So they're also getting suspects just from that. So, and they're going to go, by the way, back through all the Charlie Kirk videos, and they're going to find people who are, I mean, they're going to look at every single person they can identify and find people who shouldn't be traveling with Charlie. And they will find this because the person who shot him very likely was at other meetings.
Yeah, to sort of come up with a plan. Well, Steve, I appreciate you talking with me tonight. I guess we'll see what happens in the coming hours.
I hope they get him fast.